Hello and welcome back to my FPL channel, FPL D Unit. I'm here today for differentials for Game Week 19, which is really important considering that we've now had to deal with Saka being injured and being out. And now we've got a big problem in Bruno Fernandes being suspended. And he was a popular trading option for a lot of people that brought in Bruno for Saka. So, without further ado, let's jump into differentials for Game Week 19. Now, this is going to be part of a double upload week, so please bear with me. Obviously, today I am going to be spamming out this and obviously the wildcard draft, so make sure you check back for that. A lot of people are saving their wildcard for this time of the year. Normally, this is when I play it as well, but I played mine back in Game Week 12. And in reality, I'm quite happy still with my team as it stands. 54 points with Timber still to go. We'll get into my team in slightly a little bit more detail in a second. But differentials for this week. So, obviously, we have the fixture runs of Crystal Palace, Arsenal, Bournemouth, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Newcastle, Forest, Southampton. Do you hold popular assets or move them? I'm in that quandary right now with Bruno Fernandes, having owned him prior to this week and then watching him get me a -2. And obviously I moved Saka to Foden, so that's another option I can't really go with because I've already got him in my team. So I am one of those weird positions. And obviously Ahmad and Enzo and other popular options for Saka, including Ismail Assar, Morgan Rogers, they all blanked this week. So it's been a disappointing week. In reality, that's been reflected in most people's scores as well. And obviously a lot of popular assets from Liverpool in the defence. Obviously one of my transfers in last week, Alisson Becker, conceded to Leicester and then went the clean sheet. But in reality, I was also versing a lot of people that were playing Trent and I don't have Trent. And again, he showed why you don't play 7.1 million for a defender. So, look, goalkeepers we need to be looking at this week. Obviously, Dubravka, Alisson Becker, Henderson, and Pickford. Pickford is in the equation, and Everton's run is not easy, but they are so good defensively, and he's just an amazing goalkeeper in terms of what he's doing in FPL this season. That's 2 penalties saved this season already. It's just unbelievable good stuff from him, and yeah, he's brilliant. Defenders, we're going to be looking at the same ones as exactly last week. The only addition here is Dan Burn. Dan Burn continues to get the job done for Newcastle, and Newcastle are looking pretty damn good at the moment. They are in a really good run of form, and I'm scared for Man United on Monday night when I go to that game. Midfielders, yes, Foden still makes the cut. He was amazing. There was all the underlying data suggests that he should have returned, and we'll get into that in a briefly. Gordon was amazing. Definitely the pick for Saka replacement this week, 100%. Eze didn't look bad. Ismail Assar didn't look bad. Gibbs White looked pretty good. Elanga looked pretty good from Forest. Kulusevski, Iwobi, Jota, Murphy, Odegaard, Son, Martinelli. We're going to go for all of them. Forwards, I mean, it's pretty barren in the forward line, but Haaland has to come out. He's no longer different. He's just an avoid after that penalty miss. It got awful from him. Mateta, Havertz, Gakpo, Jesus, and Solanke. Obviously, I'm recording this prior to the 2 games on Friday night. We are Friday night now. It's really weird doing a video on a Friday night that's based on differentials. Normally I do this on a Tuesday. But yeah, look, so without further ado, let's jump into what the team is looking like currently, where I'm thinking of going, and the transfers in that I want to do. All right, so here we go. So that is the team currently. I am on 54 points. I'll just go up here quickly so I can show you. So points currently 54, slight red arrow. I'm down to 19,269. Still not too bad. I obviously used 2 transfers. Alisson Becker came in, got me 2 points. Foden came in, got me 2 points. That was just disappointing in reality. But look, not many people's transfers that they bought in this week have done well. In hindsight, if I'd known Cunha was going to keep playing the last couple of weeks, I would have moved João Pedro out for him, and I'd be looking really damn pretty right now. But look, that is what it is. Remember, if you want to join the league code, join the WhatsApp group chat. The links are in the description to this video, so please check them out. I obviously have 1.6 million in my budget this week, and obviously I'm trying to work out where I want to spend my transfers. So I do have the Bruno Fernandes conundrum, which is why the differentials this week are really important, because last week I went with a real differential when I got rid of Saka and I bought in Phil Foden. This week, I really do not know where I'm going to go, but I'm going to hopefully delve into some of those options and where we go to from there. Now, in terms of goalkeepers, everyone goes, why haven't you got Sells or something like this on this list? He's the second top-rated goalkeeper behind Jordan Pickford, owned by 9% of the competition. And Nottingham Forest have been keeping such good defensive runs of late. I just think that potentially they'll concede in the next couple of games, which is why I haven't got him on here. But in reality, 4.7, I think he's gone up to 4.8 overnight. He does look absolutely incredible. Jordan Pickford, though, is the standout. He just keeps on getting saves. He keeps on getting bonus points. He keeps on getting penalty saves. I mean, what is there not to love about this man? 82 points from a goalkeeper is insanely good. For example, if you look in David Raya, I'll just quickly show this. I hate spending time on goalkeepers, but no one's really going to transfer a goalkeeper unless you're like me and transferred out for Bruggen, for Allison. Bet you if Bruggen keeps a clean sheet against Brentford tonight as well, just to rub salt into the wound. But, for example, David Raya has kept 67 points. That's obviously prior to the night's game, so that could get up to like 73, probably max 76. So, in reality, not paying up in the defense seems to be working quite well. Now, if we have a look at my defenders, as you can see here, most of the people on the list are in my differential video. So I've got Kirkes, Colwill, Robinson, Timber, Hall. The only people we probably need to talk about, obviously Dan Burn, he has been looking really good of late. And, he's had 3 back-to-back clean sheets in a row. I mean, he should have had an assist and probably a goal in some of the last 3 weeks. I wouldn't back against him keeping a clean sheet against Man United as well. Man United just don't look like they're going to score a goal. So that's also a problem with my attack. I've got 2 midfielders that are Man United players and they're not scoring goals, which is hugely problematic, which is probably why I may end up moving Bruno on. I think I'm leaning towards that at this particular moment in time, but I want to see the games today before I do that. So Dan Burn, 7% ownership. He does look good. The run of fixtures, other than obviously the Spurs game where I'm expecting them probably to concede away at Spurs, but Man United, I think they can keep clean sheet. Then it looks really nice from a defensive perspective. So I really love rocking, the person that's top in our league is rocking double Newcastle, double Fulham defense. And there's a reason for that. So if we go to Castagna, he was, as I said on the last week's video, he returned with an assist in this week. So he's got 6 and 5. Obviously didn't keep the clean sheet against Chelsea, but the fixtures from here for Fulham look amazing. Like we've got Bournemouth, Ipswich, West Ham, Leicester up next. You'd expect them to keep at least 2 clean sheets in that, and he has shown that he's capable of getting attacking returns. He's probably the pick over Robinson. That's just what I think. Now, in terms of the Nottingham Forest defence, I think the best defender is actually Milenkovic. He does carry that goal threat. Again, 0.15 expected goals against Tottenham on the weekend, and he's obviously scored twice in the last 4 weeks. He's getting in there, and the way Forest play, he is suited to that particular role, and they've got really good defensive data. Like they're keeping clean sheets that I wasn't expecting them to keep. And other than the Liverpool game in game week 21, I know I said this about Sells, I'm expecting them to concede, and they possibly might, but they're playing so well defensively, and he's also got the attacking threat at 4.6. He's a bargain basement Gabriel, and I really love that as an option. Obviously, Timber's still in there at the moment, and that's because of the fact I just don't believe in spending up money. So obviously, Bruno Fernandes is a big problem. Ahmad was disappointing in this game, only 0.06 expected goal involvement against Wolves. That's probably not what you want to be looking at if you're looking to invest. The 2 weeks before, much better. This was just a really off night, and Wolves just seemed to know what Man United were doing and just wasn't good. Now, Phil Foden, I stand by my decision to bring him in. He had 0.85 expected goal involvement, like 0.14 expected goals, 0.71 expected assists. The problem is that Haaland is having one of them patches where he can't hit a barn door, and Bernardo Silva, instead of just playing the easy one into the net, just completely blazes it wide. He got a bonus point because of the fact he actually played really well, and I don't mind the next 2 fixtures. I'm happy to roll. Like, I know people go, oh, you're going to risk it. Yeah, I am going to risk it. Leicester and West Ham up next. 2 of the worst teams defensively, Ipswich in 22. I think I'm definitely holding for the next 5 weeks. He's surely going to return. Obviously, Kevin De Bruyne is not fit, which means that Foden's going to be starting these games. So I'm quite excited about that. Now, Maddison, he made the cut last week, and so did Bowen. But Bowen's run of fixtures from here on doesn't look good from a West Ham perspective when this eventually loads. As you can see there, Liverpool and Man City, then Fulham, then Palace, then Aston Villa, and then Chelsea. These teams are really good defensively. I just don't think Jared Bowen's an option now after that Southampton game. Maddison, as I said, Bentancur has been suspended. He came back in, and Maddison gets 26 minutes. I mean, he had 0.14, 0.03 in the time that he was on the field. But if you're going to be starting on the bench, I can't be recommending it. The same goes for Luis Diaz. I know he's up to 20% ownership, 0 minutes against Leicester. You can't be having minutes risks at this time of the year. There's too many games of football. It's too hard to navigate. Iwobi I really liked. He looked actually really good against Chelsea. I know that XG does the lies here, I swear, because he had a really good run and it could have ended up in whatever. But he's still a really good option moving forward, particularly over the next run of fixtures. Iwobi is someone that I 100% like, and he is an option. Now, the best one for the Saka replacements, and probably now for Bruno as well. He is up to 10.4 as we are speaking, but Anthony Gordon looks good. Returned with 2 assists and a goal in the last 3 weeks. He's got Man United up next, who conceding goals for fun. Then he's got Tottenham also conceding goals for fun. Then it's Wolves, Bournemouth, Southampton, Fulham. It's a really nice run from Newcastle, and I think you're more than capable of doubling up there. Johnson was back in the team for Tottenham. I'm not really sure that's when you want to go there. The one player that you do want, Kulusevski, 6.3% ownership. He's just playing 90 minutes. So if you want someone that's guaranteed nailed on starter, Kulusevski looks like he is the one. Son also seems to be starting at the moment. He just has been disappointing since that Southampton game. Yeah, I mean, the XG was 0.24 against Forest. He had his moment, but he just couldn't take it. Again, it's just so hard to recommend Tottenham assets. It's a bit like City assets, but at least Foden looks like he's playing well. Whereas I watched this Tottenham Forest game, and I didn't think Tottenham played well. And yes, they've got Wolves next, but Wolves definitely are in the back of a new manager bounce, and the manager seems to have half a clue about what's going on. Obviously, Justin Kluivert here, he's suspended. Like a few other players as well, so you've got to watch out for that. There are a number of players that picked up the yellow card. Now, look, you can potentially hold Bruno Fernandes, and I was looking at that. The only disappointing thing is you missed the Newcastle game at home, and then it's Liverpool away. Now, Liverpool have been conceding goals. We saw that against Leicester on the weekend, but realistically, I really like him for the Southampton game at home, the following one, and like potentially the 4 games after that. But it's just the next 2 games are not flash, and if you own Ahmad like me as well, it makes it harder to keep them both. Like, realistically, maybe I need to move Ahmad out and then just back in Bruno. I'm not really too sure is the honest answer, and that's where I'm going with. Now, Jacob Murphy continued his hot run of form for Newcastle, and he really needs to be looked at as an option moving forward. So that's now 7, 13, 13, 6. Again, he's playing about 60-odd minutes. He got 0.58 expected goals here. He probably should have scored against Villa. Unfortunately, he didn't. But for a budget option, it's only costing you 5 mil. He's probably the best budget enabler with the way Newcastle are playing and attacking, and the fact that Isaac seems to be in such hot form and Jacob Murphy seems to be starting. I think for me, he's probably the pick. Like in terms of, defender, midfielders. In terms of the rest, we've obviously got Gibbs White. I'm just going to pull him up. He obviously has looked fairly good since he's come back from injury. So that's 13, 8, 2, 6. His minutes are good. He obviously starts. They like him starting. The run of fixtures for Nottingham Forest in terms of attacking perspective is actually looking pretty good for the foreseeable future. I don't mind it. Chris Wood, not so much, but like these kind of players like Morgan Gibbs-White, great differential, 1.6% ownership. Here's somewhere you could go to. Also freezes up some money if you've got Bruno. And Burma, obviously, some people are looking at. And the other one I wanted to talk about, also a Nottingham Forest asset, looking really good, Anthony Elanga. So he's got 11, 9, 6 the last 3 weeks. The only problem is I don't think he is a nailed-on starter, and I don't think you can be rocking with people that aren't going to be starting. At 5.1, he's brilliant. If he was starting every week, I'd definitely look at it. But without me knowing if he's going to be starting or not, again, it's just one of them hard ones. But if you wanted to take a risk, if you are a risk taker, you could definitely go there. Jota is another one. Again, he came off the bench and he looked okay. But you want to see him starting. Like 12 minutes, 22-11, surely he's going to get a start soon. I just don't like the fact that Liverpool have got that rotation policy with everyone other than Salah. The next fixture looks amazing. But then you just want to be nailed on that they're going to be starting. You don't want to be having to sit there and hope that they don't come onto your field if they start on the bench. And for me, that is too much of a risk. Obviously, Martin Odegaard is still on this list, still a popular option. Now that considering that he's literally the same price as Bruno, maybe that's just where I go. I obviously want to see the Ipswich game first, and then maybe I'll make the move after that. But 7.3% ownership. I do want to see how Arsenal play without Saka in the team. They've obviously got a harder run of fixtures after this in terms of an attacking perspective as well. And I think without Saka, a lot of the creativity is not there. So that's something I want to see. The other one that you do need to look at, probably from Arsenal again, is Martinelli. Now, Martinelli has looked fairly decent. Again, he's not a nailed-on starter, which is concerning. And I'm not sure if Saka being out means he's a guaranteed starter. He may be. He may not be. We could see Trossard there. Realistically, based on the Crystal Palace game, he could be an option, but 4.2% ownership, 6.8. You want people that are going to be starting. And I think in that perspective, you just go for a Gordon or a Gibbs White or someone else like that. Now, he was back in the Crystal Palace lineup. He looked okay. 0.36 expected goal involvement against Bournemouth. I mean, he put a really good ball across the ball and it just didn't get finished off. He's got Southampton up next, which makes him quite appealing. definitely somewhere where you could go. A lot more people are liking Ismail Assar, so I'll just pull him up really quickly as well, just to show why people are so keen. 2.7% ownership. He only had 0.04 expected goal involvement in this game, though. He was caught offside for one of them where he did score, but that obviously didn't count. He has looked really good. The numbers are there. He's got Southampton up next, 5.8. He also looks really good. I just think that I prefer Eze. I feel like Eze is definitely the one that's always going to be starting. Ismail Assar potentially, if they're both in the team. I'm not sure if we haven't really seen them both together in the same team too many times this season. That's my problem with that. So yeah. Other than that, I don't think there's anyone else I really want to cover in terms of the midfield. When it comes to the forwards, there's only a few here. Like the forwards they're becoming a problem area. So Chris obviously gone off the boil the last 3 weeks. Only three games in a row, no returns. Same with Haaland. The only people that are returning, Cunha, who's been amazing the last 3 weeks, particularly if you held him when he got charged, he's definitely rewarded you with 21, 30 points. 30 points in the last 3 weeks is amazing. It's actually got to the point now where I might bring him in if he isn't banned and then just risk it and then just transfer him out again. I'm honestly considering that. Now, Ollie Watkins does become an option here. He's only 14.7% ownership, but Duran getting sent off means he's definitely going to be back in the team starting against Brighton. Then they've got Leicester next. He's not the worst option in the world. We just need to see Ollie Watkins get back to what we're used to seeing. Solanke is probably the pick, 9.6. I can't believe this. The only reason why he is the pick is because he's guaranteed to play 90 minutes. And at this point of the season, you just want people that you know are going to roll up and play 90 minutes, because that means there's going to be more chance of them doing something. And like, his returns aren't the best, but he does tick over quite nicely in comparison to a lot of these other forwards. Yeah. I mean, like Havertz, he's also an option, but at 7.9 mil, you probably want someone that's scoring a bit more regularly than he is, which is why, I tend not to go there. Jesus is another one. Now, Gapco started again, but again, the Liverpool rotation risk is definitely there. He has obviously started the last 6 games in a row, which makes me think that Slot really likes him as a player, which means that potentially he could go there. He had a goal and assist, obviously, against Leicester in the comeback win there. And he has been returning pretty much every other week. And they've got West Ham up next. You wouldn't bet against him getting another return there. So I don't mind that particular move at all. Obviously, the people went to Duran. That was exceptionally unlucky. Muniz continues to look like he may come back in and take over from Raul Jimenez. And Fulham's run coming up is amazing. I just don't know if you could pick whichever one is which, because like the last 3 games they've rotated, but every time he's come off the bench, he scored. So I'm not sure. It's too much of a risk. So is Raul Jimenez. And for that reason, I just think you've just got to avoid. Now, the last one I want to talk about is Gabriel Jesus. He has gone up to 7.4% ownership based on one game this season. He's done nothing outside of that one game this season. It'll be interesting to see how he goes in the Ipswich game tonight. But look, here's someone else that, it's a wait and see. And so, like, for me, that's how I end this video. Hopefully you've liked it. If you made it all the way through to the end, those are the differentials for game week 19. It is one of those questions. A lot of people bought Bruno in. Do you just move him straight back out? Particularly if you've got a second Man United midfielder, it doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense to keep him. I'm in this quandary. I'm not sure where I'm going to go, but I've just discussed all the options there that I am thinking about, and they are differentials, which means that if they do pop off, you're going to be making a lot of rank. If they don't, like Phil Foden on the weekend, it didn't matter because so many others didn't as well. But it is one of those things, and you've just got to take that into account. So thanks for joining. Make sure you subscribe if you're new, and I'll join you later today for a wildcard draft.